Hello everyone, Don here again with the next update on my 1/2 scale War Corsair project. Again, not an RC model. This week I went ahead and finished up my heat shields for around the exhaust pan here, you can see. I ended up just pop-riveting them to the skin. And I've been out here running the thing quite a bit today. As you notice, you can see a black soot trail there. People was worried about the exhaust coming in through here, but with the prop wash over it and running at high power, it's streaking right under the airplane just like I expected. So, and then the whole time I was in the airplane I never really smelled any. This side's a little bit of soot there, but not as much as the other side. But what I've been doing today has been trying to adjust the propeller to set the engine RPMs. Well, what's come to happen is I can't get over 3,800 RPM on the tachometer reading, which is that one there. I thought that was just kind of where I had it, you know, when I was running the power up to get the tail off the ground. But turns out, no matter how I pitch the propeller up or down, it won't go over 3,800 on the tach. So there's a problem with the signal. The signal for the tach comes right from the computer, engine computer. And that tach is for a CDI ignition system. And then fiddling around with it is all day on and off trying to figure out how I got the thing wired in there and how it works. It turns out, doing some searching on the internet, people say that tachometers are nothing more than voltmeters. The higher the signal frequency coming out of the computer, the higher the voltage output. It's kind of a duty cycle thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop that meter back out, take it back in. I have a frequency generator from my Stan Meyer's water-powered car stuff, and I'm able to check the tach. The tach works fine. It'll run all the way up to the 8,000 RPM limit. This whole time I've been trying to read frequencies, and the frequencies just don't seem to be adding up, because I'm reading the frequency coming out of there. When this thing was at full throttle, it was at 209 hertz, and you divide that by that's 209 cycles per second times 60 seconds would give you 1 minute, and then you can translate that into RPM. But it's just, the numbers just aren't matching, but it makes more sense. The last thing I did is I hooked a voltmeter to the gauge. Turns out there's power to the gauge, and then the ground is made by the computer. I thought it was a grounded circuit, but it's not. But when I hooked up a voltmeter to the output of the computer and grounded it, then I seen a steady climb in voltage, 2, 3, 4 volts. But I didn't have the tach hooked up. I need to have the tach hooked up to get the reference of volts versus RPM. So I'm going to pull that back out, just 4 little screws, and just pull the wires off. I'll put it back on my frequency counter, and I'll hook my voltmeter to it, and I'll see. I had my voltmeter hooked to it to verify the frequency of the generator, which was right on the money. But that was an issue where I was looking for frequency, not voltage. So now I'm going to go take it back in and do some voltage check. It's about 7 o'clock right now, as you can see. The sun is getting pretty well set out here. And you can see what I did is I ended up tying the airplane to the tree, hooked it right to the tail wheel of the airplane there. It's a tow strap for towing cars. Like I mentioned before, I got my tag on there. I did see a video this weekend of another airplane, the P-36 airplane that a company just made and had at Oshkosh. He had his N number under the tail right here. The code calls for, from the trailing edge, leading edge of the tail to the trailing, it's got to be in here somewhere. And he had it under the tail. And that's what I would like to do, but again, I'm going to let the FAA tell me where they want it. I think I can get away with it right here, kind of low and out of the way. So, but anyway, I had it tied down. I did some full throttle run-ups, and I also had to order a couple bolts. And then I went ahead and found this on their website, remove before flight. A little cap, and then this is my pitot tube. So, just wanted to show that I got that too now. I got the seats and that out of it. I did finally get the power for the radio wired up, so now that's hot. That all works. Got the handle all bolted down in now. There's a nice screw going through here, number 6 screw. So that's tight now, won't come apart. So everything in here is done, as far as I can tell. That tach, other than that issue with the tach. again, that. So then I've been playing with the prop, the spinners off for getting a prop pitch. I mean, I had it up to working temperature, and I actually had it up over 190 degrees, but I was doing some kind of sustained running without moving, and a lot of air moving here, but I had the canopy. I took the canopy off because some of the issue is right here where the canopy is dragging when it just closes that last bit of travel. So I clearance that, and then and it seems like it's possibly a little still tight in here some, so I need a piece of 1/4-inch tube or something to run all the way through here and drag it back and forth and see if there's some dragging going on here. So all you got is 2 nuts on the inside that pulls this out, and 2 screws in these little sliders here for the front of the canopy. And the canopy comes right off. So I took it off to work on that, and then I decided to finish up and get this all done. As you can got the cowling and everything back on. So that's kind of where I'm at. I've been really chasing this damn tack problem. The tack seems to be working fine, but I had the exact same problem on this. This thing, you know, goes to 8,500 RPM, and this tack was doing the same thing. It'd get up probably somewhere in that same range between 3,000 and 4,000 RPM. That's the tachometer right out of the snowmobile. It's coming out of a Polaris snowmobile. Because again, this is a Liberty motor, a domestic engine for Polaris. It's a 500cc, but it's 8,500 RPM. And that would do the same thing. It'd go up and stop, but the engine would keep revving and it wouldn't climb. It'd actually drop a little bit and then just sit there. And then before I had a electric motor up here for a pre-rotator to spin this thing up. You can see my rotor tack still works. You can see the numbers there. But I got rid of that system and went to this belt system here. But with the battery, I needed a battery for the starter motor that was used for the pre-rotator, and I had to use a DC regulator to regulate the voltage coming out of the stator windings for the charging power for the snowmobile. So I had to use a DC regulator. And then when I got rid of that, I had no need for the battery anymore. I took the battery off, and I had to put an AC regulator back on it. And then along the lines of rewiring and doing that, the tack worked again. And now the tack works perfect. So it's going to come down to an issue of either a noisy line, either the power wire feeding the tack is noisy, or there's noise being picked up on the signal line coming from the computer, because the engine computer generates the tack signal. Now you might be able to go into the coil pack and tie into the 2 triggers, because this is a wasted spark system. It fires the coil on the compression and exhaust like a 2-cycle would. Every time the piston comes up, it fires those cylinders. It fires 2 cylinders at a time, even though it's a 4-cycle engine. It's a wasted spark, but there's only 2 triggers that trigger that. So you would end up getting 2 pulses per engine revolution instead of 1 like a 4-cycle engine. So that makes a difference in your tachometer. You got to have a different tack for each setup. So I'm going to look at the other tacks, but I'm going to pull that back out. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this off here, folks. Sorry for the short one, but I was hoping to get more done. That's nice. Truck making noise. Blow it up. But I was going to put the wings on it and do one final weight and balance, get the final numbers, since I got the battery relocated. So, alright, I'm going to go ahead and put this thing away. Like I said, it's already after 7 o'clock. I'll go ahead and get this loaded up tonight for you guys, have something to see, and let you know that I'm not sleeping out here. So, as always, feel free to leave any comments, questions, concerns. Be sure to hit that like, subscribe button if you haven't already. And if you're new to the channel, thanks for showing up. And if you're old veteran, appreciate you guys coming back. Alright, I'm going to cut her here, get this thing put away, get that put away, and do some more digging. So hopefully next week I'll have that straightened out. I may have to get a different tack, I don't know. Alright folks, that's going to do it for this week. So this is Down and Dawn out.